Okay, so the poster that's probably the thumbnail for this video is actual promotional material. I did not create it, nobody who works for me did, nobody works for me, can't take any credit for this. Michael is from director Antoine Fuqua, the man behind Training Day, The Equalizer, and Southpaw. Written by John Logan, who did Skyfall, The Aviator, and Rango. It's the story of the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson. His life up until the end of the 80s, for, reasons. I'm of course referring to the fact that his most well-known and beloved music came from that time. Okay, but seriously, there is some controversy here. The Jackson estate was very involved in this movie, and they've notoriously been militant about trying to get the people to forget the late pop legend's misdeeds. Actually, he was proven innocent. He was just a man who liked to sleep next to little boys. Also, please don't release the Epstein files. They also had to rewrite the third act to remove references to one of his accusers because of some clause in their legal agreement. So yeah, all this stuff casts a dark shadow over this movie, but if you want to let go of the latter part of his life, leave the white Michael Jackson out of it, it is fun. The trailer proclaims that it's from the director of Bohemian Rhapsody, so you know what you're in for. The standard biopic formula. Shit, I'm gonna say it, Bohemian Rhapsody was better. I know that's not the kind of thing you want to hear, but it's kinda true. Not by a whole lot. They both have the same strengths and weaknesses, but I personally felt Bohemian Rhapsody was more eager to have fun with it. But I'm not saying it isn't fun. It has a decent amount of energy to it, and of course, great music. Michael is played by his real-life nephew Jafar Jackson, who does a good job of portraying him. His character isn't meant to be particularly deep. Like a lot of generic music biopics, he was just a tortured genius. If he had any negative attributes before the allegations, they're all glossed over. But it doesn't matter, because it doesn't care about painting a complex picture of him. It just wants to put you in a state of nostalgia and play some great music by a legend. They're actually making a sequel to this covering the rest of his life. They even put the words "Michael Jackson's story continues" before the credits. A real-life Michael Jackson will return in Avengers Doomsday. But this one already has a decent enough ending. Just ended on a positive note. Black or White is a great song, but is it great enough to make us all sit through 2 hours of the rest of his life? Hollywood overestimates how many people want to hear about how the trials made him sad. If his story actually did end here, I'm sure we'd all be happier. And this movie is a fun, if derivative ride through the highs of his life while conveniently steering clear of the lows.
From Michael Jackson. Off the Wall features 5 hit singles.
I wanna rock with you all night.
Off the Wall. Yes, it's more of that Michael Jackson magic. Off the Wall. Another thriller from Michael Jackson.
Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Oh, just some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
Everybody's a suspect!
You're not scared, are you?
Scream.
Man, you ain't Michael. Michael's got a monkey. I got a llama.
Scary Movie is from director Michael Tides, director of both the Haunted House movies and 50 Shades of Black. Written by Marlon, Sean, Keenan Ivory, and Craig Waynes, and Rick Alvarez, who wrote for those movies I mentioned. The 6th Scary Movie, and the first since 2013. The long-awaited return of the Wayans brothers.
We back.
And the slightly less long-awaited return of Anna Faris and Regina Hall. So it's a legacy sequel. That just happens to come out when the legacy sequels of Scream are big again, so they have an excuse to reuse that villain. Now it's just like the first. Be nostalgic. I didn't know what to expect from this movie quality-wise. I heard it was getting bad reviews, but then again, all scary movies had. I got very mixed signals as to whether or not the fans liked it. I really only liked a couple of the past scary movies, and even then, they're not ridiculously high on my rankings of parody movies. Comedies have been dead for so long, we've forgotten that the Wayans brothers aren't that good. Okay, that was harsh. I still love these movies for being dumb parody films. I even have a t-shirt of it, as I showed myself buying in my Barbenheimer video. Of course, I thought it was a Scream shirt at the time and didn't find out until years later.
Just chillin'. Killing.
But I still own it, so I'm glad to say that I think this is another one of the good scary movies. It is fun in that trademark hit and miss scary movie type way. The first joke in this movie consists of Tiana Taylor switching from texting her friend to having a phone conversation because, according to her, the people who go see Wayans Brothers movies can't read. That sets up how sophisticated many of these jokes aim to be. Later on, in a parody of the opening sequence of Scream 5, the Jenna Ortega stand-in, who's modeled after Wednesday because, remember, she's the same actress, says she doesn't like parodies and prefers artists like Judd Apatow, who she calls elevated comedies, and defines them as comedies that aren't funny but make white people feel smart. Thus to be followed by silence from the crowd I saw it with because the joke makes no goddamn sense. Not when you're talking about the guy who created McLovin. Shit, not when you're talking about any genre other than horror at all. Unless maybe that's the joke? Damn it, we aren't paying for jokes that are too smart for us. But the point is, if you've seen the past scary movies, you know what you're getting into. No, it's not all stupid lowbrow humor, but it's always silly. Although, this one surprises us by adding Deadpool levels of fourth wall break humor. And since the Wayans brothers are returning, we're back into more vulgar R-rated territory as well. You know that one gag that ends the sex scenes of both the Wayans brothers movies? Well, after all these years, we finally get the female version of that. And as always, many of these jokes are funny, while others are just dumb. But this time the good jokes and the overall energy of it is enough to get the audience past some of the less successful humor. Like its predecessors, it's most effective when it's actually parodying horror movie scenes or tropes, even if some of them could feel a little lazy. Possibly the biggest disappointment is that Terrifier scene. All that hype and most of the joke is just that they're referencing it. And also that they put a ball sack on screen.
What the?
The trailer censored the F word, but everything else in this shot is totally okay. Another bizarre standout is a K-pop Demon Hunters parody. It's mostly just LOL sex and weed that borders on Rule 34, but they managed to put so much effort and creativity into it I don't know how to feel. Anyway, it's been marketing itself as something really offensive, and yeah, that tactic is very try-hard, but what makes it worse is the fact that this movie isn't even that offensive. Like, it's not even as bad as the first two. I mean, if they didn't push that angle, it would probably be on par with the average episode of South Park. Yes, that's offensive, but it still put being funny and satirical first. And this one does that too. But when the marketing pushes, ooh, this is going to trigger you liberals, people are expecting something far more over the line. Maybe not 4chan humor, but the kind of thing that would appear on Comedy Central in the 2000s and be successful despite the fact that exactly 0 people liked it. Most of its allegedly offensive stuff comes when it makes fun of the news or other aspects of current culture. We got jokes about COVID, Me Too, Elon Musk. There's even a 6'7" joke in there. Some of these are funny now, but they will probably make the movie dated later on. I guess I'll be generous and say that while all the COVID humor sucks, I think there's a chance that the part where somebody points out that the pandemic's been over for years might get slightly funnier as the pandemic gets farther away. Also, that 6'7" joke would probably kill in 10 years when its target audience is old enough to see it. Hey, remember when the trailer was so edgy that it opened with that washed up pronoun joke from 10 or 15 years ago?
He stabbed her! Not her! My pronouns are they, them. He stabbed them!
Well, if you cringed at that, just remember, you didn't see the full scene. Yeah, it gets a lot more old man yells at cloud. And before you say it, no, that part didn't offend me either, it just sucks. South Park can make fun of similar topics without seeming out of touch. This movie can't. Okay, to be fair, they did have a trans character and went on record saying that they tried to do him tastefully. I guess this movie's current in the sense that it's a legacy sequel and it parodies the ideas of legacy sequels, and goes out of its way to defy them in the climax, albeit in the most purposefully cynical way possible. This is no Naked Gun reboot, but it knows its predecessors enough to become charming in the same way that they are. Crass, silly, and hit and miss, but often still funny. Horror movies are bigger than they've been in a while. That's more than enough reason to bring this franchise back. Of course, there are a few misses, but overall it's the kind of movie I came for and hope to see. For all of its flaws, it's still the best Scream movie of the year.